We've had some amazing games released recently like Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty, Final Fantasy 16 and more, but what happens when you're done with these games? Well, here is some of the best upcoming action-based games to put on your radar, and we've included a mix of genres from action shooters to action MMOs, with some being close to release while others are super far away, so let us know which one you are liking the look of most. Well, let's start it off with Soulframe. This game has huge potential as it's being developed by Digital Extremes, the same studio behind Warframe. Soulframe is an upcoming, free-to-play, open-world action MMORPG. The game takes place in a mirror universe from Warframe, and this time around the world of Soulframe swaps its fast-paced shooting action for a more slow-paced melee combat in a fantasy setting. The fantasy setting really comes to life as nature plays a big factor in the world, with the overall theme of the game being nature versus industry, with the world itself fighting back after what's been done to it. In terms of the gameplay, players will engage in combat with various creatures and enemies. The combat mechanics involve using spells, abilities, and physical attacks. Just like Warframe, Soulframe will have a multiplayer aspect, meaning that the game supports cooperative gameplay, allowing players to team up and tackle challenges together. This will be a proper RPG, so you will have levels, items, and character progression to unlock. If you want to see more of this, there's actually a 30-minute gameplay walkthrough out there for it. But as for when you can actually play this game, it is currently in early development, so it doesn't have a release date yet. And next up, if you're yearning for more CD Projekt Red goodness after completing Cyberpunk, or you just want more Witcher in your life, then you'll be happy to hear that it isn't just a single game, but a whole saga of interconnected games that CD Projekt Red are currently working on that will be the next part of the Witcher series. These new Witcher games are currently being developed under the title Project Polaris, and they already have a significant investment with over 250 developers already working on the project. CD Projekt Red are looking to create a new technology base for this new saga, starting with the first game, and seeing what they did with Cyberpunk really pushing the visuals, we're super excited to see what they're able to pull from this, as the advancements in tech have come quite far and The Witcher 3 was already looking very good. This next set of projects will be dropping Red Engine, which has been used in previous games in favour of Unreal Engine 5. So, if you're looking for a new AAA action RPG trilogy, this is something that should definitely be at the top of your list, but while we're waiting for it, out of the Witcher and Cyberpunk settings, which one do you prefer? Personally speaking, I always loved the Witcher series. The fantasy setting, the monsters always pulled me in so much, and it's a super immersive set of games, and the core literature that it's based upon is also very good. But after completing Phantom Liberty, I now have a void for a new Cyberpunk experience that we're not going to get for quite a while. This next one is a bit bittersweet, as it means we're getting a cool looking game but at the cost of another. Arad Chronicles Kazan was initially meant to be a completely different game called Project Barbecue. That previous game was aiming to be an online action RPG set in the world of Dungeon and Fighter, but has since been pivoted into an action RPG similar to that of a Souls-like game. The developers themselves describe the gameplay as having challenging combat and intricate world design. Here's the official description of the game from the trailers. Arad Chronicles Kazan, which expands the Dungeon Fighter online universe, is a console 3D action RPG set about 800 years before the events of the main game. Experience the tale of General Kazan and Archmage Ozma, who defeated the Berserk Dragon Hismar and invaded the Pelos Empire. This is one for those of you looking for some epic anime Souls-like action, as there will be huge fights and awesome battles to take on. This next one had you guys bringing out the pitchforks for missing it out of our last few lists, but we were saving it for this action game list. If there is a game from Capcom aside from a possible new Monster Hunter game that we are looking forward to, it is Dragon's Dogma 2. Dragon's Dogma 2 is aiming to be a fully realized version of what the development team originally wanted to pull off with the original Dragon's Dogma, but they couldn't due to restrictions of hardware at the time. For those unfamiliar with Dragon's Dogma 2 is a single-player, narrative-driven action RPG. In the game, you play as an Arisen, with the ability to select different vocations that function similarly to classes. The game gets a bit crazy, with players being able to take on creatures that range from dragons to ogres and goblins and harpies. There is a ton of things to fight. The game itself has a lot of unique gameplay mechanics that allow you to climb on monsters, throw them, and even create an AI partner called a pawn that will aid you in your adventures. Dragon's Dogma 2 takes the gameplay to a whole new level, with an open world 4 times the size of the original game, with new vocations for the player to choose from, and the epic looking new Mystic Spearhand, as well as new features like camping and cooking, this is set to make fans of the first game happy, and should be a great entry for newcomers looking for a new action RPG. Currently, there is not a release date for the game, but we know it will be releasing for consoles and PC, and with it looking pretty far in development already and us already having hands-on gameplay with it, if you're a fan of Monster Hunter or RPGs in general, you should probably give this one a go when it finally comes out. For this next one, it seems like people either loved or hated Death Stranding. We were on the side of loving it as we thought it had an epic world and a crazy story, so we were happy to hear that Death Stranding 2 will be getting developed. This potential mind-bending game is being made by Kojima Productions and is being led by the renowned game director Hideo Kojima. We know that the cast announced so far will include Norman Reedus, Lea Seydoux, Ellie Fanning, Shioli Kutsuna, and Troy Baker, but not much is known about the gameplay changes for this new sequel, as a lot of people definitely weren't satisfied with the original concept. The story itself seems to be set many years after the events of the first game, and so in the trailers we get to see Fragile and Sam. Kojima has said that he completely rewrote the story due to the pandemic, and we can't personally wait to experience more of this world, but we are very curious to know if you guys are excited for this one. This next game is definitely one that isn't on many people's radar, but the potential there is incredible. There's an Indiana Jones game in development, but licensed games can be very hit or miss, with some being like Spider-Man 2 and amazing, while others being more like Rise of Kong, perhaps the worst game ever made. The thing that makes this exciting outside of the IP being used is the development talent that is being used to make the game. This new Indiana Jones game is being produced by Machine Games, and the executive producer is Todd Howard. If you are unfamiliar with Machine Games, they've worked on the brilliant but often underrated Wolfenstein games. They are experts at crafting epic but fun narrative-written adventures, while also delivering an engaging gameplay experience, so it'll be interesting to see what they can pull off with this IP. Recently in interviews, they revealed that the game is on schedule to be properly shown off in 2024, with the development of the game being around halfway through. It's going to be set to release on Xbox and PC, but there isn't a current release date yet. Next up, if you're looking for a mix of Monster Hunter and Genshin Impact, then this could be your next game. Honor of Kings World is a brand new action RPG based on the very popular Honor of Kings franchise. If you're wondering how something can be popular but you haven't heard of it before, well, Honor of Kings is a franchise that's massive in China. In China, this game basically functions as their version of League of Legends. Though for Honor of Kings World, the company is stepping into the console game market with a huge open world RPG that will have you facing off against dragons and huge beasts, but luckily, you will be able to play as characters with some awesome abilities to take these monsters down. The second franchise made by Hideo Kojima has made its way onto the list, and this time it's for Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, which is a remake of the iconic Metal Gear Solid 3 set in the 1964 Cold War. The game follows the legendary soldier Naked Snake on a mission to rescue a Soviet scientist, and as is the case with Kojima games, the narrative deals with heavy themes such as the costs of war. Unlike Death Stranding 2, this game is being made without the original creator Hideo Kojima after his public fallout with Konami. However, the game promises to be a faithful recreation of the original with enhanced visuals and gameplay, and is set to release on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. We've actually seen this game in action via a short in-game demo, which shows off the improved visuals and also the original voice cast, including David Hayter as Snake, although it does seem like they are reusing audio lines from the original instead of recreating them. So, which ones do you like the look of? If there's a game that wasn't on this list that you are looking forward to, then do let us know in the comments below, and follow for more daily gaming news, guides, videos, and more.